Hello everyone, Jonathan Casey here with Mercury's Messenger Astrology, here to talk about February 1st, 2020. Yes, we're on into the second month of the year. Um, what a great month this should be. We're going to have a Leo full moon, which, should really help bring us some strength, some creative energy, um, and a little bit of that take charge kind of attitude. So, yeah, today on the first in the chart, the main thing that I see is Venus making a sextile to uh, the planet Pluto. So, that's what I'm going to talk about today. So, let's take a look at the chart and talk about that a little bit. Okay. So, the moon now in Taurus, um, approaching the center of it. Uh, maybe I'll even talk about its trine to Jupiter. Um, I didn't really consider that before hitting record, but nonetheless, anyhow. So Venus in Pisces, sextile Pluto in Capricorn, and Pluto's still very close to Saturn, a little over a degree and a half away, still pretty tight. Um, so Saturn has some influence in this conjunction or this sextile as well. Now, what I feel this kind of is you know approaching we Pluto's kind of transforming the traditional way that we've been uh, approaching um, things, or how we've been moving forward, or what was the wording that I had just thought of a second ago? um, Moving forward with our heart's desires. Pluto, I feel, is changing how we've moved forward to manifest what we're wishing to have in this dream. Like uh, how we're getting it, and I feel uh, with Saturn involved, it's in a very we're taking a very a new structured kind of way of um, acting with our heart, or trying to um, acquire what our hearts desire. And so that's kind of what I feel that energy is about. Now, yeah, I didn't really consider the moon trining Jupiter. So, the moon in Taurus, having just transited over um, Uranus, is really like the surface value of things, intuitively feeling that Taurus is connected to Venus. Um, so we may be feeling uh, the surface level, that kind of expanding into our intuitive nature, in that very realistic, structured kind of sense. Um, so yeah, that's kind of what I feel. Maybe uh, in regards to that, it's just kind of even complementing the Venus sextile Pluto and Saturn. Um, just want to see Jupiter. You know, we had a lot of Jupiter trining Neptune last year, and I personally don't like that energy. Oh man, because to me, I really felt like I was witnessing the the Matrix in action. Like I really felt like almost like Neo, and so like waking up to how Neo was in the movie The Matrix. Uh, and I feel like I encountered the the police of the Matrix, like those cops that just kind of like shapeshift or whatever, they're part of, they can just enter in any body and any mind, and that kind of really sort of relates to what I experienced. Um, I kind of felt for even a short period after Easter um, that everything that was happening uh, in front of me that I was witnessing directly played with what was going on in my mind, and it almost felt for um, a few moments in those days where I think it even was more in a dream, uh, in one of the sleeps that I had in those days, where it just felt like there was a complete bridge between my mind and everybody else's, and that really that concept of oneness. However, it's terrifying, and I really feel like because it's such a powerful concept that there are there are levels, there are checkpoints maybe, or something along the lines to uh, maintain main enough, guys, to maintain the um, that that structured illusion of separation, so we don't just completely lose our minds, I guess, even though I really felt like the Pluto Neptune trine really uh, closely put me in a state of I don't know, maybe it wasn't the Neptune Jupiter. I really feel like that had a big part of it, um, but it could also be Uranus uh, on my Chiron natal Chiron placement, ninth house. Um, that could be another aspect of why it played with my mind in such a way. Anyhow, um, you know, uh, reality and illusion or delusion, I don't feel is that um, there's some truth or some connection in the two, um, and it really, our minds are limited to the perspective that we can witness and process. Um, so yeah. Anyhow, um, I did. Yesterday in yesterday's video, I shared my Facebook post, um, and I feel like why not make a habit of that? Um, it's an extra little thing that I could talk about, and I'm sure you guys, it interests you guys. So, I almost wish that so for the first of the month, I decided to do something different, to do a 3 card uh, spread, all tarot, using 3 different decks. Um, and it turns out that I pulled the 2 of stones, the 2 of moss, and the 2 of pentacles. Which the 2 of pentacles and the 2 of stones is actually the same concept. It's both the earth element. Stones is pentacles, or coins, or shields, however you want to, um, whatever suit you want to name it by. Um, so, it being all twos, I almost wish that it was on the second, as February is the second month. It would have been 0202 and then mirrored 2020. uh, and it being all twos, it would have been a nice synchronistic kind of um, spread. But very interesting, because when I pulled the cards, um, so I used my Wild Woods deck, which is a very paganistic deck, as the spirit of the read. Then the second card I pulled was from my Santa Muerte deck, which was the shadow of the read. And I basically drew the same card for both those reads. And then, um, and then for basically steampunk being about time, um, and past, present, future, kind of. That's what the steampunk theme is. It's about time, and so that's what the center card sort of represents. What we can do at this time to tie the spirit and the shadow um, together. And it happens to be a 2 of moths, which is fire element, um, wands. So therefore, the 2 is kind of like bridging the spirit and the shadow, which happen to be the same cards. So anyhow, let me read basically what I wrote. February 1st, 2020, 2 of stones, 2 of moss, and 2 of pentacles. Well, to start off the second month of 2020, I thought it would be, uh, I thought, sorry, I would do a 3 card tarot spread using 3 different decks, as I've been anxious to use my Santa Muerte deck, in which I'm still waiting for the matching Oracle deck to arrive in the mail. The first card from the Wild Woods Tarot represents the spirit of the read. The last card from the Santa Muerte deck represents the shadow of the read, and the center card from my Victorian Steampunk deck is the card in which at this time ties these 2 spectrums together. I find it rather interesting that I pulled all 2s for the second month of 2020. Not only that, but the first and last card, stones and pentacles, represent the same element, earth. Basically, they are the same card, however, drawn to oppose one another. Stones and pentacles is I am or I have. The center card, moth, is fire, and it is I act or I desire. I create is another fire um, quote. You know, the 2 is balance or relationships. The number 2 is balance or relationships. So the reading, you guys. Actually, I schedule these posts too, so this will be out at around the same time as the video. Anyhow, the reading: my spirit is challenged to light up the shadow aspects in my relationships. I am being called to look in the mirror to find a balance within myself, merging who I am with what I have in order to attract and create harmony within my relationships and interactions. I must harmonize my polarities and stand in my authenticity so I can manifest what I desire to create with integrity to better serve the world that surrounds me. There is a lot of potential for love and abundance to manifest from this month's actions in our bonds, while others, if we can find the balance between our words and what is justified. So that's the spread that I did for February 1st. It's kind of more, I guess, like for the month, even, not just for the day. So, yeah, that's what I did here. And I guess that's it for today's video. Thank you guys very much for watching. I really enjoy a lot of the great compliments and support messages that you guys have been giving me. I kind of, um, I've been a little shook up by the year 2019, and some of you guys have really given me some encouraging advice, as well. Uh, an astrologer that I'm subscribed to on YouTube, which I haven't really um, followed or paid very much attention to her videos as of yet, but I did listen to one or two today that makes me enjoy or appreciate her content even more. I may now, due to especially the first video that I watched, give her more of a shot. She has lots of subscribers, so I'd just be one in the, you know, hundreds of thousands that she already has. But nonetheless, her name is Stargirl the Practical Witch, I believe she goes by. And the video that I watched was something like YouTube versus real life, like about her on YouTube versus her in real life, or something like that. And what she basically said in that video very much resonates with my experience of 2019 as well, coming into 2020 just feeling completely unsure about everything, um, and whatnot and whatnot. So it kind of, goes with the encouragement that some of my audience here has also put out, and said that this is just an energy that a lot of people have been kind of going through in this year, and in these pivotal times of doubt is when the change really occurs. And if we can find faith and nurture the hope in these times, that basically is the challenge of it. Are you gonna basically, become bitter and and stop believing because of some hardship, and I kind of want to use the word trickery. I feel like Neptune trine Jupiter did play, I guess, with I feel trickery in some ways. Um, and, you know, Russell Brand did a video about, um, I can't remember, it was like maybe a month ago that I watched the video, and I don't think I watched the full video either. But it was about something. I don't even remember what it was about. I just remember him mentioning something along the lines of like, "Is your god a trickster god or whatever?" And I think that's kind of when I was just turned off by the video, because I was kind of at that time feeling like God is a trickster. I'm kind of like, why why do we live in this kind of world with a trickster fucking god? And maybe it's to test us. Why to test us? To maybe it's not so much a test, but so we ourselves can rise up to elevate ourselves by um, tapping into our hearts and our faith and our hope, um, rather than allowing um, the nonsense that you went through to affect your soul spirit journey, I guess. So that's what I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching, and see you guys all tomorrow. Bye for now.